We are on air.
All right, great, thank you. I call the 2,328th meeting of the Milwaukee City Council to order. This meeting is being conducted by video conference. The public has been invited to watch the meeting on the city's YouTube channel, Comcast Channel 30 in city limits, or by logging on to the Zoom video conference as an attendee. The public may submit comments in writing by email to ocr@milwaukeeoregon.gov. There will be opportunities for the public to give oral testimony during today's meeting. When it is time to take public comment, staff will monitor the email inbox, the Zoom participant list, and the Zoom chat to see if anyone would like to speak. We will take comments in the order that they are received and seen. Spanish translation services are available upon request. The public is asked to request translation and other meeting accessibility services at least 48 hours before the meeting. Contamos con servicio de traducción al español cuando sea solicitado. Se pide al público que solicite servicios de traducción y otros servicios de accesibilidad para reuniones por lo menos 48 horas antes de la reunión. Translation services are also available in other languages. The public is asked to request translation and other meeting accessibility services at least 48 hours before the meeting. If members of the public become disruptive, we will mute and remove them from the video conference. If that fails to stop the disruptions, we will recess the meeting and return within 5 minutes. If we are unable to continue, council will briefly meet off air to move unfinished business to the next council agenda. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The City of Milwaukee respectfully acknowledges that our community is located on the ancestral homeland of the Clackamas people. In 1855, the surviving members of the Clackamas signed the Willamette Valley Treaty, also known as the Kayapuyat etc. Treaty, with the federal government in good faith. We offer our respect and gratitude to the indigenous people of this land. I think this is a good point to acknowledge that we are having a historical meeting tonight, in that I believe certainly the first Black man ever elected to the city council, and potentially the first person of color elected to this city council. It's important, and it's good that we finally have representation beyond when I got on council, a bunch of old white men. We fixed that a little while ago, but we're continuing to improve. I'm very proud of Milwaukee. Announcements this evening. Share your vision for the future of City Hall by participating in online open house. The survey closes this week on Thursday, January 7th, so be sure to participate. All right, I'll read it off the screen. Central Milwaukee Bikeway Connection Project. Provide input online through January 18th. Virtual open house, January 14th. Hang on, this isn't working. All right, now I can see my script again. All right, first take a short online survey on the Engage Milwaukee website at the engagemilwaukeeoregon.gov. At engagemilwaukeeoregon.gov. Engage.milwaukee. Goodness. Oregon.gov. Opportunities to participate in both English and Spanish are available on the site. If you aren't able to participate online, please call 503-786-7657 and other arrangements will be made for you to participate. In addition, you can join the project team on Thursday, January 14th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. for a virtual open house using Zoom. The event will be an open door format, so feel free to join at any point. Visit the city website at milwaukeeoregon.gov to find the information you need to access the event on Zoom. The city is currently seeking nominations for the 2020 Volunteer of the Year. Nominees can include anyone who resides in Milwaukee or is a member of a nonprofit organization or business that serves the Milwaukee community. Those nominating the person are asked to discuss the nominee's volunteer work and discuss how it has improved Milwaukee. Nominations are accepted through an online form at engagemilwaukeeoregon.gov. If you aren't able to access the online form, please call 503-786-7568, and other arrangements will be made for you to submit a nomination. The Milwaukee Poetry Series and Letting Library are sponsoring a William Stafford birthday celebration on Saturday, January 9th from 2 to 4 p.m. on Zoom. They will share poems by featured readers and invite you to participate in an open mic online. Email Tom Hogan at tomhogan2@comcast.net for more information or to register for the event. For more information about each of these events and others, please visit the city's homepage, where you will find the city calendar at www.milwaukeeoregon.gov. If you don't have access to the internet, please call the city's general number at 503-786-7555, and staff will provide you with the information you need or connect you with someone who can help.
Mayor, I had one addition. I just wanted to let everyone know, and it's actually hard to get to the application, I apologize, but there is the Milwaukee Redevelopment Commission has a community advisory committee that we are working. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback from someone's mic.
So,
is anyone not muted that should be? See if that's
I think
better.
I've muted everybody, yep.
Okay, thanks. So we're putting together a community advisory committee, and we're looking to have some community input to develop a 5-year plan for basically how we might go ahead and spend a bunch of money we're going to have coming in for areas, basically downtown and the Milwaukee marketplace. So if you are a resident in those areas, or a property owner or business owner, or you have a housing specialty or a background in finance, we would love to hear from you and love to have you apply. The deadline is currently the 8th, but we are going to extend that out a couple of weeks. So
I haven't seen anything on that. So I would like to see us promoting that a little more. I would like to get it myself so that I can share it with people. Thank you.
Yes, and that is why we are moving that deadline.
all right. Our next item is city manager updates. Ms. Ober.
And I'm actually going to hand this off for a commendation to the chief. So I'm going to let Luke go.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Gamba, Council President Falconer, and members of council. I'm Luke Strait, the Milwaukee Police Chief. Before jumping into why I'm actually on the schedule, I wanted to take a brief moment to extend my sincere welcome and congratulations to Councilor Nicodemus. It's been a pleasure getting to know you this past year, and I look forward to working with you as an integral part of the city's leadership team. I can only imagine how proud Jillian and Rio are right now, and just wanted to take a moment to welcome you aboard. I'm actually here this evening to briefly explain a call and investigation which led to a formal commendation, and I'm going to dive right into it. I'm joined this evening also by Detective Heather Heisel, Detective Catherine Meyer, Officer Mark Inman, and Officer Les Hall. We also invited the business owner and victim, Celeste Leduc of Designing Women. Welcome again, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to read this commendation. On June 24th of 2020, Officer Les Hall responded to the business Designing Women on a report of a theft which had just been discovered, and Officer Hall spoke with the business owner, Celeste Leduc. Ms. Leduc explained that a small group of people had entered her business and used coordinated distraction techniques to steal a wallet from a purse. Officer Hall handled the initial investigation and then coordinated with detectives for follow-up. Detective Heather Heisel was assigned as the lead investigator, and she worked closely with Detective Catherine Meyer and Officer Mark Inman, who was temporarily assigned to the detective unit at that time. The suspects immediately began using stolen credit cards, and the initial value of the loss from identity theft and forgery was over $16,000. Detective Heisel obtained the security video from Designing Women, as well as other subsequent businesses where stolen credit cards were used, to begin the process of identifying the 3 suspects. Detective Heisel reached out to surrounding agencies and learned numerous similar incidents had been reported throughout the Tri-County area. She began working with detectives from the Portland Police Bureau, the West Lynn Police Department, the Beaverton Police Department, the Lake Oswego Police Department, the Vancouver Police Department, the United States Marshal's Office, and the FBI to identify all 3 suspects and help coordinate the investigation. On September 30th, detectives located one of the 3 suspects and took her into custody. Detective Catherine Meyer and Officer Mark Inman were ultimately able to obtain a full confession and confirm the identity of the other suspects. In October, detectives obtained federal indictments on the case, and different aspects of the case are scheduled for both state and federal prosecution. This case is an excellent example of a great initial response by our patrol division, coupled with tenacious follow-up investigation by the entire detective division. Detectives worked together tirelessly to track down and identify this unique and well-organized criminal team who had operated throughout the Tri-County area and into Washington as well. The collaborative work with police agencies around the region ended this ongoing crime spree, which is attributed with over $100,000 in total loss since the investigation started. Different suspects will be held accountable at both the state and federal level. We commend all the Milwaukee Police Department staff involved in this investigation and thank all the other jurisdictions impacted by this for their support and assistance. Thank you.
Well done. That's an impressive bit of investigation. Thank you.
Mayor, and one of the things I just wanted to add real fast is part of why we brought this forward tonight is we recognize that our small businesses have had a really hard year. And this could have made it a much worse year for our Main Street and for Celeste in particular. I really appreciate how seriously everyone took it, and I appreciate the dedication to resolving this matter in a way that helped her and other business owners feel safe in our downtown, and moved us all forward. So really excellent work.
Agreed. Celeste, would you like to say anything?
Yes, excuse me. Yes, I would. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate each and every one of these officers that helped me through this. I was a basket case. I couldn't figure out when I realized my wallet was gone and how slick they were. And grasping what all I went through and getting to my bank and then realizing how much money was gone in an hour and 45 minutes. And gone. And then I thought, well, I better call the police. And I called, and 10 minutes after the phone call, Les Hall walked in my front door here and stayed well over an hour, hour and a half. I can't remember how long he was here with me. He spent so much time with me. He helped me calm down. He just listened to everything that I had to say. He gave me lots of confidence and gave me steps of things that I had to do to get things in order for me to carry on. I was driving home that night with no ID, no money, no way to get any money. And it was frightening. And Les was so great and so wonderful and so kind. He's the guy that you want on the scene when things go crazy, truly. And so Les, I so much thank you so much. And came back several times to help with things. And then Heather, I just adore Heather. And she took over from there and showed up, I think about 8 months pregnant and still was just right on it and took all my information and did all the things that Luke just said. And then when Heather was not in, Officer Inman, and I'm not seeing him on, oh, there you are, Mark, and you're at the bottom now. And he's helped me on the phone. And so I felt if my business was anywhere else, if I was in Portland, I think I would have had someone say to me or email me, go, do this online. And everyone took me hand by hand and walked me through all of this. And so I cannot say enough good about the City of Milwaukee Police Department. You're all wonderful people, and I so appreciate everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say thank you enough.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I often say that we have the best police force in the state of Oregon.
I agree.
Officers, anybody want to make a comment? They're always shy. I know.
Well, I did have a 12 screen PowerPoint that I thought I could go. Catherine and I put it together. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say thank you to Celeste for those kind words. This is the reason why we like to really get invested in these things is there is always a face of the victim, and you having such a vested interest in the downtown area and a kind of a personal crime.
Yeah.
So we're really happy to help you. And I just wanted to, put a hand out to my colleagues, but especially Heather. She was going through some personal things with the pregnancy, and she put a lot of time and effort and just heart into it. And I think that's pretty characteristic of just the general work effort of this group here. So I was just glad to be a part of it.
Now, the only thing that can make this better, I know there's going to be a grand jury, so, I'll be able to take care of that too. But the only thing is I want my leopard print wallet back. So we still got to work on that.
And Mayor, it looked like Heather was trying to speak, but she was muted. So I just wanted to see if we could get a couple words from her.
Yeah, Heather.
Yeah, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated working with such great guys and gals. I literally went on maternity leave, and Mark and Detective Meyer picked up this case, and Officer Inman did surveillance. They ended up picking up the one suspect and interviewed, and just what a great group we have here, and how smoothly things run. Les takes the primary. We help do the follow-up. It's just a great group that we have at the PD, and I appreciate the kind words from Celeste as well, and I'm glad that we were able to serve you and take care of this.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Just wanted to, both to say amazing job, great team, and we do always hear great things from the residents about the service they get from the police department. I was just curious as to what role Celeste's videos played in helping move it along, and do we wish that more businesses had video of their premises?
My next door neighbor has a Ring doorbell, and that got the two women walking across my parking lot and speaking to me, and you can hear my voice on it too. And so that was a lot of it. So we had pictures of the people, and along with that, then all of us in this building now have Ring doorbells.
The cameras are super helpful. We actually posted something to our Facebook page, the Can You ID Me, were images from the cameras that her neighboring business had, as well as the news story that was ran, that we actually got contacted by one of the suspect's family members off of this news story, and that was images from her neighboring business. So I wish all the businesses had that. It would be really beneficial.
All right.
And Mayor, that's everything I have this evening. I didn't have any other updates from my time on the calendar. So once you all are done on this issue, we can move forward.
Okay. Get back to my script.
And all the officers are expected to stay for the next 2 hours. So, and
Thank
have a
you all so much, and I'll be right back.
Thanks, Chief.
good night, everyone.
Good night. All right. This is a part of the agenda during which council will hear community member statements regarding city business. Those wishing to speak, please raise your hand or indicate that you wish to speak. Before you make your comments, please state your name and city residence for the record. If you would like the city to follow up with you, please submit your contact information to ocr@milwaukeeoregon.gov. As Milwaukee has other business items on the agenda this evening, speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Because information provided during the community comments may be new, the city manager will respond at the next council meeting to those comments that require follow-up. Before we begin, is there any follow-up from the December 15th community comments, Ms. Over?
The only follow-up is that the legislation around Grubhub did pass. So anyone who watched us as we were going through those discussions, there is a significant change in how large of a fee those businesses can charge. I believe it's 10, was it 10% that they were capped at, or 15%? 15%. So that was state action that was taken, which means the city did not take any action and doesn't need to at this point based on that action by the state.
So it's 15 for deliveries, and wasn't it 5 max for pickup or something like that? Yeah, that I think is almost a bigger deal. All right, cool. Scott, do we have anybody?
I don't see any no emails, Mr. Mayor, and I don't see any hands raised.
All righty. Tonight's consent agenda includes the minutes of the December 1st, 2020 work session, the December 1st, 2020 regular session, and the December 8th, 2020 study session. We have a resolution establishing the City Council's 2021 meeting schedule. We have a resolution designating papers of record for 2021, and we have a resolution appointing Corey Hester to the Citizens Utility Advisory Board. Does any member of council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None heard. It passes unanimously. All right. City Council 2021 committee assignments. This is a discussion that will be led by our Assistant City Manager, Kelly Brooks. But basically, it's just for us to sort out who's going to take which assignments. So, Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, just to give a little bit of background. So this is not an official document that's kind of passed and adopted. It really is a tracking sheet for sort of the workload that city councilors are carrying to the different committees that they are sitting on behalf of the city. Both, some of them are city committees, a lot of them are regional, and every once in a while we actually have statewide committees that are on here as well. So with that, Councilor Nicodemus, you have not seen me fail repeatedly at sharing PowerPoint presentations, but it's basically what happened throughout all of 2020. I am shifting my strategy to doing what I should do before, which is PDF. I'm doing PDF tonight, and I think it's going to work. So please, everyone, get on the edges of your chairs to see if I can share what I want to share. All right. Can everyone see this?
No.
Darn it. All right. What about that? Can you see that?
Well, we can see a block. There you go.
Yeah.
It's happening, right? It's happening. And then watch this. I'm going to make it full screen. Now it's full screen, right? Everyone can see it.
Very professional. Very.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are not Milwaukee trees. They're just generic trees. So I have the full list, which went into your packet. I can bring that up. I have tested that as well. And we can go through it
line by line if we'd like. But what I was hoping we could start with are the positions that are vacated by WILDA, because those are the ones that we know we kind of need to slot someone into. So I've made a short list of those. When you look at the, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. There's sort of 2 buckets of WILDA vacated seats. The first are the ones and the most important ones that we talk about tonight, which are the ones that we really do need a city representative to go to, and the city decides who goes. Okay. The next one there are county boards that WILDA sits on, which the county actually appoints people to, which we really don't control. And frankly, WILDA may continue to serve on them. It's just unclear at this time. So I'm not going to emphasize those. She also is on Rotary, for example. That's not something we have to have a city rep to, but we could. So let's just start, if it's okay, with these. And then what I want to go to after that is any changes beyond those seats vacated by WILDA. So are there current roles or assignments that you all have that you want to be changing that may come from these other responsibilities that folks take on, may trigger some of that? And then also, is there anything I've missed? So are there any committees that should be on this list that you're not seeing and that I need to add on to it so that we can track it? And are there any that need to come off? So I believe right now, I still have the HB 2001. I have some rulemaking. I'm not so sure that those are still meeting. So kind of those basic cleanup. If I've got anything left on here that just needs to come off altogether. So does that basic outline work for y'all?
Yep.
Okay. So let's start with City Hall Blue Ribbon. We have Council President Falconer is on there, but we had 2 counselors assigned, and WILDA was the other one. Do we want to talk about them as we go, or just me read them all off and you guys start discussing what works best for you?
Why don't you go through them all and then we can go ahead.
Clarify the Blue Ribbon. It wasn't like one person and an alternate. They were both 2 like full members.
I thought WILDA was an alternate on that, but I don't remember for sure.
And I actually thought that she was the main. So
that was kind of what I recall.
Very involved. So my guess is she at least took this seat as her own.
And I'll say that she's made statements suggesting she plans to continue attending through the duration, or at least for the first few months of the year. So throw that out there.
Okay.
So just to make sure I'm understanding, there are 2 counselors assigned, but 1 was an alternate. So only 1 member of council really goes regularly, and that was WILDA. Okay.
So do we want to talk about these individually, Mayor, or did you want to talk about all of them?
I don't have strong feelings about it one way or the other.
Okay. I mean, I can definitely step up into the primary. Or if anyone else is interested in serving on that, I'm open to that too.
I'm going to read so I can close it out because it's probably distracting for you to stare at a PowerPoint screen, maybe. I'll keep going. All right, so we also have Councilor Heisey as our primary rep to the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee, C4. Just for background for folks that don't go to C4 very often, there are county committees that largely like funnel and feed information to Metro on transportation related issues. So we have our primary covered, that's Councilor Heisey. We do need an alternate. The next one is the District Advisory Committee for North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. They've had a name change. They used to be the District Advisory Board. Now they're the DAC instead of the DAB. And WILDA was primary on that. She was chair. This person would not necessarily be the chair, but we do need a city rep. We have Councilor Beatty is our primary rep to the North Clackamas Watershed Council, but according to my records, WILDA was the alternate. So I've flagged the need to potentially name another alternate so that we have backup there. And then the Milwaukee Parks and Recreation Board has a council liaison. Not all of the city committees do have a councilor liaison, but PARB does. And WILDA was filling that role for us. This is one that I didn't actually have on your sheet. So you wouldn't have seen this one. So I've added it here and I've added it on the one on my computer. But so those are the ones that I'm hoping we can definitely talk about, and then we can go from there.
I mean, it seems like the PARB one should be the same person that's on the NCPRD District Advisory Committee?
Yes, because there's another representative to that committee that's on PARB as well. So Ben Johnson right now. So it makes the most sense for there to be overlap for the city councilor that takes both the Parks Board at the county level and the Parks Board at the city.
Desi, do you have an interest in doing that one?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm interested in the District Advisory Committee and the Milwaukee Parks.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Were we going to go to not screen sharing so we can see each other?
Yeah, I'm going to close it. I'm going to close it right now.
Yeah, okay. So on C4, the alternate for C4, I'm willing to go back to that. That gives us an opportunity to tag team a little bit when there's crazy issues on that committee.
Do you go anyway?
Have I been going since I stepped off? And no, because Wilder was pretty regular about going to meetings. So then we would have had 3 people in the meeting.
Yeah, so, it was quorum territory.
Yeah. But I've been often reading the packet or the agenda or parts of it anyway.
Yeah, we can all get that. I mean, I'm on the list to get that. I don't know if everybody is, but they'll add any of us who want to stay in the loop to the packet.
So just so Desi knows what that is, that's the committee. So each county has a committee that coordinates, hence the name coordinating committee, with Metro, and decisions, particularly land use and transportation decisions that are being made at Metro, votes are taken at the coordinating committee. We do delve into other things as well. We've delved into housing. God, I'm blanking now. Feels like there's always a ton of things, but it's pretty important that we have people go there and be engaged.
And it meets, is it the one that meets at 7:30 in the morning, or is it the one?
C4 Metro meets at 7:30 in the morning, and then the regular C4. So C4 Metro is just the metro cities of Clackamas County, which is, obviously not all of Clackamas County is in Metro. And then C4 is all of the cities and the hamlets and the special districts and. So it's a much bigger meeting, often stranger too.
And I will say that Mark and I do consult quite frequently on C4 agenda items and C4 Metro in particular. So while he hasn't been at the meetings, he's been there in spirit.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
That to me only leaves the Nikiwik alternate position on that list.
And the blue ribbon, unless we don't need an alternate on the blue ribbon.
Well, I mostly would like to make sure that we keep Wilda engaged in that somehow, because I think she has an incredible skill set for the conversations they're having. So I don't know if we need to change the description of the committee, or Grant, I don't know what we do with that. But please, can we find a way to keep her?
Well, and they're about halfway through their mission, right? So right. It probably doesn't make a lot of sense that we need an alternate if
okay.
Council President is willing to step up and be the, I don't see a ton of need for an alternate. And as for Nikiwik, I will say that, I don't know that I've ever missed a Nikiwik meeting. I've maybe missed one in 4 or 5 years, but they also went recently to 6 meetings a year instead of 12. Although we all serve on some sort of subcommittee so that kind of makes up for the extra meetings in between. Anyway, if somebody wants to do it just because they want to know what's going on, anybody can go to a Nikiwik meeting. It's a public meeting, and I can share the link for anybody who wants to just tune in and attend one of those Zoom meetings. But I don't know that we totally need a alternate for that one. I mean, Wilda definitely was not going to that one and hadn't been since she had gone to it before I took it on in 2016 or whenever it was. But, yeah.
Well, good. We've got all those replaced. Just running through some of the other things. League of Oregon Cities. I encourage anybody who's got the time and the bandwidth to do that. There's no limit as to how many people from Milwaukee can serve. There's 8 or 10 subcommittees, and basically what it is it's usually 4 or 5 meetings every other year, and the committees talk about specific areas of policy that LOC will then engage with the state on. So, for example, Kathy and I have both served on the energy policy. It's more than just energy and environment, something policy committee. And it's been very helpful to have our voices in those rooms because we can make a significant difference in how the outcome of LOC's decision whether to engage on something or not turns out. So if you have the bandwidth, it's interesting. And there's community development. Wilda and I have served on that one. I'm going to blank on all the rest of them.
Water policy is another one. I'm not going to be able to list all of them off my top of my head, but those are appointed at LOC, not by us. So
you pretty much just show up.
Sure. Yeah.
There's an application process of some sort.
There is, but it's pretty simple. I think you just look at their website.
And do they, I mean, we're getting ready to go into session. So were they all about getting ready for session, and will they be kind of dormant this year and then they'll gear up again next year, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on the committee. I've had some conversations with Tracy Breton, who's the LOC policy person for the Energy and Environment Committee, about whether or not we might have an ongoing advisory role, but I haven't heard from her, so I think the answer may be no. And the real place where that work all matters is we as LOC members have a ballot we get in August or September, and it's a bunch of policy issues, and we as a council vote on the top 5 out of that list. That long laundry list of potential policy issues comes out of those 8 to 10 committees. And then the body of LOC says, these are the 5 we want to advocate for. Now, even the ones that don't get a vote, don't get that top 5 vote, still get some support from LOC in the legislative session. And so we had a building codes, a breach code piece that we were really trying to move, and we didn't get any votes at the LOC big picture level, but because it was one of the things that the Energy Policy Committee put forward, we will get support from LOC in the legislative session for that work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I just was reading it looks like they were going with 7 topics according to the invitation we got today for Cities Day in the legislature. So they went with more than they usually go with in terms of topic.
Yeah.
Let's see. So are there any other committees that anybody is hot and bothered to want to serve on or desperately wanting to get out of?
Well, I sent Councilor Nicodemus an email about my other 2 committees, which are regional water providers and then the fire district. And if he's interested in either one of them, I'm definitely willing to cede my place. They're not necessarily the most interesting and compelling things, but they're also not necessarily
The fire stuff is amazing. Tell the chief that you told me.
We haven't met since
I
COVID.
know, I have no idea, but we're meeting next week.
Yes, we are. Anyway, I just put that out there that I'm not dying to get off, but if either of those topics are of interest, I'm happy to see them.
And I've got an audit committee that's also available.
I have a 5th grade classroom somebody can take.
I was just going to note that, I was going to thank Councilor Nicodemus, because taking on parks, I think, is actually going to be a pretty big lift. I think, Wilda's leaving some pretty big shoes to fill. So I guess maybe that's sort of a subtle, Desi, you got a lot already on your plate.
Yeah, I mean, parks, at least the PARB part is still meeting. The District Advisory Committee.
It's not just the number of meetings, and you and I both know that.
Yeah.
You get to spend a lot of time with me. It's really exciting.
That,
also.
I mean,
It's a real upshot.
It's totally. Kelly is just one of the fun. She just makes me giggle all the time, even when she's not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And it would be I think all of us would just like to serve with her on a committee, only for the purpose of getting to work closer with Kelly more often.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Okay, you guys are making good progress. Can I ask about the ones that I don't know if they should even be on here? Sure. So, Council President Falconer, I think I saw you shake your head that I don't need the 2001 committees. They're done, right?
Rules have been adopted, so we do not meet anymore.
Okay, I'm going to delete those. We also still have Kellogg for Coho on here. I think that shouldn't be on here.
Well, Kellogg for Coho is on there, or the Kellogg Dam?
Kellogg for Coho. I think it's sort of a stand-in for the issue, but it's not a thing that's meeting anymore, right?
Well, it's just sort of a standing if opportunities arise, or if whenever that state organization of all the different departments decides to get off the dime on that, then the 2 counselors that are listed are the ones that will be the ones to engage.
Kellogg for Coho was actually the development agreement. So that was actually 2 or 3 years old. That's the parcel that we're developing. I think there should probably also be a Kellogg liaison for the dam.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah.
Well, Kellogg for Coho is the name. You're thinking Coho Point.
Yeah.
Property, but Kellogg for Coho is the name the city has had on the goal of removing the dam for at least a decade.
I stand corrected.
That if you look back, if you go on our website and you search Kellogg for Coho, it pulls up the documents. That's the best way to pull up all the documents.
And I think that is Councilor Beatty's way of saying she knows a lot of history on this, and it should probably still be on there because we're doing a lot of work around it, and she's leading a lot of that work.
Well, there's no committee, there's no anything, but we do want to be prepared there are discussions that Kelly is participating in with the agencies and stuff, and with Nikki Wick. Yeah.
I'm happy to keep it. It just doesn't have like a group or a meeting time. It's basically more of sort of an assignment of counselors to an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, but we'll keep it here. I have no problem with that at all. Anything else that you all saw that looked wrong? Okay.
I am actually the representative to MPAC for Clackamas County Other Cities.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Actually, the mayor corrected that in a conversation I had with him the other day. So I have it corrected on my sheet now. Moving forward, it'll show that as you. It just didn't get in there in time for the packet.
Sounds good.
I have another one that can be removed. The regional elected forum for, that was the elected forums to, that work is done. Unless we're thinking about something else, but this was like this grew. I don't think this exists anymore because there was like the governance sort of subcommittee that came out of it, and then new bylaws were created for West to include the folks who felt excluded.
Okay. So that one is the one It's just called Regional Electeds Forum, Tri-County Service District. Okay, that one can come off. Okay.
And the Clackamas County Economic Development Commission, we're unlikely to get somebody else appointed to that. So that can come off.
Delete it.
Yeah. And same kind of goes with the Clackamas County Budget Committee. She wasn't appointed as a representative of Milwaukee. It was really her background with the chamber.
Okay, I can pull both those off. Do you want me to keep Rotary on?
So somebody from council has been going to Rotary as far back for sure as Jeremy Ferguson being the mayor. So he did it for several years, and I did it for a couple of years. And then when Wilda came on, and she was already an active member.
Well, Jim was the member when he was mayor too. Yeah.
So if somebody has an interest in that, it's lunches once a month, right?
Meeting virtual.
during normal times, yeah. So not for the next 6 to 9 months.
I might be interested in picking that up. The bigger question I have is around CCBA, because I do feel like they often do some pretty good stuff in their programming. I've watched after the fact a number of their presentations over the past year. So I'm not sure that we want to get into a broader conversation around membership, because I know that there's fees associated with the CCBA membership.
There is, and you can actually participate at the lunches without being a member. So you can attend them at any point. It's not necessarily a voting membership. And I believe that Wilda actually has sat on their board at points. And that's actually what this was calling out, was her service on the board. She thinks a great deal of that organization. I think she would love to see us continue on it. But again, I don't think we appoint to the board, even if we pay dues. So it would be their choice.
Yeah, gotcha. Thanks for that.
And those are morning meetings. Am I recalling that correctly? I've been to a couple. I just don't.
And they sometimes have, like, they've got a lunchtime forum coming up next week that I'm already signed up for. That's the launch of the Here Together work, and they're hosting that. So, but yeah, the regular meeting is a 7:30 a.m. meeting.
Wednesdays.
Your favorite time of day?
It's Councilor Heisey's favorite meeting time.
Super favorite.
So I should probably keep that or delete it off of this list, because it's just really a membership related question more so than an assignment question. And if for some reason anyone ends up on the board of that at some point, we want to put it back on, just let me know.
Okay.
The same actually stands with Rotary, where we would be an attendee. We do have a membership for the city. So whatever council member decided they wanted to attend would be included in that membership for the year. The chief is a member, so he has been going regularly. There are still Zoom meetings, and they actually have done some food delivery even in some of these meetings. So it's happening regularly. The conversations are great. If you're interested in participating, it is continuing.
So I had a question about Milwaukee Center Community Advisory Board. Mm-hmm. Is that still Siri? She's still serving on that? Okay.
I believe so.
I know Joel Bergman is the Milwaukee Center rep to the District Advisory Board.
Correct.
Okay.
And
I believe, and
will that change, Kelly? I mean, is that, won't that, I mean, it could possibly change, right? Because now it's sort of any community center, and we anticipate that as other community centers come on board, it might not be the Milwaukee Center anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. So there's sort of two things I think that are happening. One is we have Milwaukee's representative to the Milwaukee Center board, and that's Siri. Joel is on the Milwaukee Center board, and he represents the center to the District Advisory Committee. And you're absolutely right that the new bylaws make that seat that he's currently in a representative of community centers. So should a new community center come online, you could have the community center rep to the DAC be not from the Milwaukee Center. I don't think it would change our city's rep to the Milwaukee Center board.
And I
That
don't
makes sense.
think the other, I mean, Concord isn't going to come online for a couple of years yet. So at best. So yeah. I don't think there's any other community center that's going to come into play in 2021.
Whenever you all are ready, I can give you kind of the recap of what I think I've heard, and you can make sure that I got it all.
Yeah, go for it.
You ready? Okay, so City Hall Blue Ribbon Committee. Angel will be primary counsel, but we're going to make sure we keep Wilda involved and participating. The C4 alternate is Mark. The DAC and PARB is Desi. And we do not need a NICUIC alternate. So we're not going to do that. We're going to pull the regional elected forum off. The 2001 rulemaking is coming off. Clackamas Economic Development Commission is coming off. The Clackamas County Budget Committee is coming off. We're going to delete CCBA, but talk about it during memberships generally, and we're going to delete Rotary as well. But again, both, we're still encouraging people to participate and attend those meetings because they have really good information, but they don't need to be tracked here. And I'm keeping the Kellogg for Coho. Does that sound like everything?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you might be done, unless you want to talk about more stuff.
Yeah, the only other item we have is the
It's a legislative.
Do we have, is there any updates on any of the, particularly on the two bills that we're pushing on?
I do not. So here's what I had pledged to do was last time we talked about it, I said, hey, we won't be doing kind of a city-based tracking sheet, but I'll get you the LOC tracking sheet before so that you can look at it. When I went and logged into the system there, I'm not finding anything for 2021 in either OLIS, which is the state legislative tracking for bills, or the league's legislative tracking system, which is CM3. So it could be there and I'm just not smart enough to find it, but what I think is it's not loaded yet. So in essence, I don't have really much for you all to kind of chew on or look at tonight. If you have information that you want to share, you've been sent LC drafts directly that you would like to talk about or start developing letters of support for, that this would be a good time for that. But in terms of information I have for you, unfortunately, I don't have much. I mainly wanted to remind you that the session is going to start on the 19th and that the lobby day for the league is on the 28th. So if you do want to participate in the lobby day, I would encourage you to go ahead and get signed up for that if you haven't already.
There's one piece I don't really have enough information on to make this all that informative, but I went to the policy meeting for the North Clackamas Chamber of Commerce earlier this week, and there was an interesting presentation from Bridget Daisy, who does economic development for the county, around some legislation that Senator Lou Frederick is putting forward around kind of revamping the economic development stuff that happens in the state at the state level. I don't have a lot of details, but I did ask Bridget for more information that I might share with you all. So I will to be continued.
I also had an update just because I know 2 council members have been in the loop and I wanted to make sure everybody was aware. We've been working with PGE along the lines of legislation to allow the city to help set our utility portfolio. So this has long standing been a part of our climate goal. We really appreciate that PGE actually has drafted some early language and has entered into a discussion with us, both with the mayor, Councilor Heisey, and with staff. We don't have a lot of detail still. We're still working with them through all of those pieces, but just so council is aware, there is a piece of legislation that is being crafted with Milwaukee in mind. And depending on where we land on it, we'll be back to talk to you in a lot more detail.
And I will just say that to back up what Kelly said, I also went on OLIS today trying to find stuff, and I don't think there's anything up yet for the new session. Everything is just prior sessions, which is surprising because I'm pretty sure there's usually pre-session filings up by now, but I couldn't find anything there either.
And Councilor Nicodemus, just because we haven't given you the background on this yet tonight, we don't actually have a lobbyists. We don't actually have a big legislative portfolio that we work on during the session. What we try and do is make sure that all of you have the information you need if you want to write a letter and you have a chance to talk in this space about why you're endorsing legislation or what kind of actions you'd like your other council members to join you in down at the state legislature. So this is a pretty, it's a pretty light legislative process that we do here, but Kelly comes to these meetings at the end of the night, I believe during every regular session, it might be once a month, just to say, hey, this is a space for you to talk about this. And to make sure that if you're hearing things, you're having a conversation about those things and can get each other's support. It is unusual since I've been here for us to have legislation that actually is, that we're actively involved in drafting. It's happened, I think, one other time, but it's not common. We do insert our concerns often into other legislation. I think in HB 2001, that's a great example where we took an active role in making sure the legislation would work and meet the housing goals for the city. But it's up to you where you want to play in that and how you want to do that work. You're welcome to call me or Kelly before you come to this meeting, or to email out to the group. You just can't receive a response before the meeting if you have thoughts about things you'd like to discuss.
All righty. Well, if there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I say one thing before we do that?
Absolutely.
Welcome to the team, Counselor. It's really nice to have you here. We're super excited. I know this can be a lot. We can be a lot. So if at any point you need to talk to any of us, feel free to reach out. But we also know you're really busy. So we're going to try and also give you some space to acclimate. Kelly is wicked smart. So if there are specific details that you have questions about, especially on the things we've talked about tonight, feel free to reach out to her. But I'm happy to talk at any time, as are, I'm sure, any of your council members. So I'm excited you're here. It's really nice to see you, and we'll be working together a lot.
Yep, very excited with this team. It's Milwaukee should be very happy with the representation they have.
Thank you.
All right.
Was it my job to take over from Wilda?
You're in charge.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, we are adjourned.
Good night, everyone.